Hi all. So I said that I was going to clarify some questions about the classroom-based assessment. So if we just go to the module outline, you can see that, okay, so in week 12 we're going to have our 50 meters swim. So that's our practical component. And then assessment 2 is classroom-based assessment. So a swimming personal development plan. This is an adaptation of the classroom-based assessment from the junior cycle short course physical education specification. Each student will plan, design, and enact a swimming personal development plan from two different perspectives, as a learner of swimming and as a physical education teacher of swimming. So that means, in essence, it's two CBAs, so classroom based assessment. So you have to set one goal for your swimming as a swimmer and another goal as your PE teacher hat or like as a coach. So like if you want to kind of align it with the PAP, one is performer and one is coach. So if you think about it in those ways. But this is based on strand 1 of the junior cycle short course, but instead of using health related activity or health related fitness, we're using swimming. So again, so your students are assessed on their ability to plan for, implement and evaluate. So that are the key words. It's the planning, the implementation and the evaluation of your personal activity program designed to meet your personal improvement goals over a focused period of time. So it's not about the actual performance, your swimming performance, about becoming a better swimmer. It's about you setting a goal and doing a plan to try and reach that goal, and then your evaluation of how that went. Okay? So if we go to, sorry, I'm just going to go up here. So this is the first thing. So it said that you had to do your self-assessment wheel and your self-assessment next steps. So what this is your self-assessment. So this was developed by the JCPE many moons ago when they started. And basically what you do is you put basically your name, okay, and you can put in swimming there. And these little boxes here, you put in different elements. So I outlined it was the front crawl, the backstroke, your water confidence, breaststroke, water safety, whatever it was, and then you shade in. So literally with a pencil. So whether if you haven't started it yet, then you shade in there. If you can perform at a high level, always you shade it there. And basically what this is giving students, you could use this for any breakdown, any sort of a skill or any sort of activity, or let's say even in gymnastics or dance, and basically it gives students a visual. Okay, so if everything is in 4 and then if this here is in 1, then you would look at that, and then perhaps at this area it would be the place that you're going to work on. So it's a self-assessment because you can't set a goal unless you know what you want to work on, and you have to have evidence. So this is that type of evidence. Okay, so again, it's just using an example for you guys that you can see with students. This can be something how they can self-assess themselves. Where am I at now and where do I want to go? So if you were doing health related activity, you could have muscular endurance, blah blah. You could change this here. I know I was speaking to one of you, and I couldn't edit this either. But we could design our own ones. But what you can do is you can just print this out, fill it out yourself, take a photograph, and upload that. So that can inform your evidence. Then from that, then based on looking at that, then you can see, well, what do you want to be able to do? So based on your self-assessment wheel, this is what I'm going to choose. I'm going to choose my front stroke. So this is where I am here now. I'm down here at number 1, but I want to be able to get to number 6. So what I can do and what I need to be able to do to get there. So this is kind of like the prerequisite for your SMART goal. So this is probably like breaking up. So if you want to improve your front stroke, maybe breaking up, these are the weeks or the elements that you have to that you want to achieve. So maybe it's your legs 1 week, maybe it's your breathing, maybe it's your arm action, and then you're going to do your check-in, peer assessment perhaps there, and then you're going to reassess. So now I know that for the next few weeks I'm doing well on my legs, but my arm action and my breathing still needs to be improved. Okay, so this is where that comes into. Again, you can print that off, and you can use that. You can use this for now, you know, as in to set your goal. And you can also use this maybe for your check-in in week 3 or week 4, kind of looking back at this and saying, well, where am I on this ladder? Again, it's just showing you an example of evidence that was developed for PE back in 2003 of what was available to teachers. Then the next thing, so I just wanted to go to those clarification questions. So the ones that I had up on your announcements. Yeah, so swimming personal development plan guidelines, CBA assessment. So here are some notes. So the CBA final project is due week 13. So that means I've opened up things on Solus, but it doesn't mean you have to submit them every week. That is just a guideline to try and keep you on task, the same way as Ryan is doing with the PAP. But it's up to you, essentially. The final thing isn't due until week 13. I've updated the CBA timeline, which includes dates for you to follow, so you can follow that. I've uploaded 2 documents for Active for Life book, and so there's a chapter on aquatics, and the CBA is an example of a CBA physical activity plan. Okay, so you can read these, and this will inform your knowledge about what's expected from you, and if you were teaching students, so what is the type of information that they have to be able to have and be able to know and be able to do to basically set goals and set a plan and follow it. So remember, this is based on Junior Cycle Framework key skills, those 8 key skills and the well-being indicators. And you can see this from the documents, okay? So again, we're thinking about, we're not trying to teach students to become excellent swimmers and that they, okay, that's part of it, you know, the knowledge of swimming. But really, we're thinking about Junior Cycle Framework and those key skills, so that they're working with others, they're developing communication skills, they're you know, that they're being active, they're being responsible through the well-being indicators, okay? So you can feel free to touch off them in your classroom-based assessment as well. So I've gone through those. Then you need to design your swimming personal development plan using a SMART principle. So specific, measured, realistic, timed. So it has videos there on what a SMART principle is, and you can see an example from the book what a SMART principle looks like. So it's very specific. So you can't say like, oh, I want to improve my swimming. So maybe my SMART plan, for instance, I'm choosing the front crawl to be improving my breathing technique while I'm doing the front crawl in order to enable me to swim longer distances. So that's very kind of specific. I want to swim longer distances using my front crawl, and I want to be able to improve my breathing. So on my SMART principle might be, okay, so I'm going to do that over 6 weeks, and then I'm going to break that up. So how am I going to break that up? How many times am I going to practice? How am I going to know what am I going to practice, and how am I going to know how I'm getting on? Okay, so those are the things. So you set that out at the beginning. So I've opened some assignments to Solus. If anybody wants some feedback, you know, you can always send me an email, upload it to Solus, and then send me an email. I'll have a look. And that is kind of it. So again, I was at the PAI conference on the weekend, and they were speaking about the physical activity project. And again, it's the same concept as the PAP, the physical activity project. So it really is basing or trying to assess students' knowledge on like picking a goal and having evidence. So what's your evidence of what you need to work on? Then selecting a goal, then implementing a SMART plan. It has to be a SMART plan, and then you'll do your reflection. Now a lot of this is, you can see from the actual, if I go actually up here to, if I go up to resources, I may as well just do this here, because while I'm doing this, the CBA assessment. So our rubric, so this is what I'm going to be using to assess. So if you think about it, okay, so plan, design, and enact a classroom-based assessment. So this is, you have to show your collection of evidence. These exceptional above expectations, alignment expectations, yet to meet expectations. This is the same terminology that is used in the assessment guidelines for Junior Cycle Framework, okay? So you can have a look at that. Sorry, that's my timer. Where am I? Yeah, identify and correct basic technical faults within aquatics in a logical and progressive manner with reference to biomechanical and physiological demands of aquatics. So that might be you getting somebody to take a video of yourself while you're swimming, or taking a picture, and being able to identify your own faults. And remember that we spoke about those basic kind of biomechanical principles: propulsion, buoyancy, streamline, rotation. So these are types of things, again, that you can research, that you can look up, and you can have them in your plan. So, and again, that progression. So you can't go from being able to, like, you know, you can't go from wanting to improve your front crawl and having no sort of plan, and then setting that goal for yourself to improve your front crawl in week 1, and then you're just going to be great at week 6, but you haven't actually thought about that progression. So you as a swimmer, you as a swim teacher, how are you going to plan for that progression? So breaking down the movement. If you're a swim teacher, how would you break that down for students? And then what little goals would you set for students to develop on each week? And then as a swimmer, how are you going to break up the movement, and what are you going to improve on each week? Bearing in mind as well, you only have one lab a week, and maybe you're going to have one other time to go swimming during the week. So affective, we can see this different levels of self and peer swimming ability. Okay, so it has it all written in this. A knowledge of the benefits of aquatics, lifetime physical activity. So these are all the module outcomes from the module outline. So that's your affective. So do you appreciate swimming as a lifetime physical activity? Can you adapt activities, for yourself in terms of modifying it, breaking down a movement? And then, so you can see, and I've written in black brackets where I will be looking at that. So in your reflection. Cognitive, understand the fundamental techniques of aquatics. So this is the thinking side. Planning safe, uses knowledge effectively from biomechanics. Okay, again, I'm not looking for a biomechanical, this is nothing that's going to be, we want it to be too difficult. But again, you have to have that knowledge and awareness. And really, this is kind of putting the learning back on you. So independent learning, research skills, what can you find out? What can you apply? And what's going to be meaningful for you. And then creativity, so a creative approach, and this is where you're going to probably set yourself apart. A lot of what they said at the PAI conference is that people are using Movie Maker, so that students, that's what they'll be using, when they go to develop their physical activity projects. So using Movie Maker, so that way you can write some reflections. You can do a voiceover, which is very helpful. You can include videos, you can edit it, and also maybe using things like Coach's Eye and Huddle. They're apps where you can actually include a video of you and then compare yourself to somebody who's proficient at that skill. So those things are really helpful. So again, you have to do 2, so you can include it in like, probably the best thing to do would be do one as a swim teacher and one as a swimmer, and 2 separate documents. Now again, I don't want this to be massive, monstrous, okay? So basically I'm just looking for you to be able to set a goal, set a SMART plan, collect some evidence, and then reflect at the end whether you evaluate whether you achieved that goal or not. So that is basically what I'm looking for. And to be creative, because this is also an opportunity for you to use these types of applications that you will be using as teachers with your students. So, challenging yourself to use Coach's Eye, to use Movie Maker. You can also use Pictochart if you want. You can use PowerPoint. So you can also work together to help one another, but at the end of the day, it is an individual assignment. But look at the rubric. Have you hit all those learning outcomes in the rubric? And then you can see up here, so these aspects are competent, satisfactory. So if you just go, competently do the bare minimum, that's what you'll get, in line with expectations. To get these, you'll have to obviously show some more kind of effort and a bit more creativity and a bit more probably cognitive understanding. Okay, so hopefully I hope this has cleared up any questions for you, and help one another out as well, as I said. And it shouldn't, so look at the things that I've uploaded. If you look from the booklet, you can see, but basically just make sure that you set a goal, you have evidence of where you selected that goal from, then you implement your SMART principle, you check in during that, whether peer assessment, self-assessment, you could have diary, you could have photo evidence, you could have a voice note, something to say how you're getting on each week. Maybe that's how you're going to do your teaching. As a swim teacher, maybe you're going to get verbal feedback from the teacher that you're working with. Write that down afterwards as a diary, diary entry. So we need to collect this evidence, but that it's aligned with your goal. And then at the end, yes, I achieved my goal. No, I didn't. The next time I do this, I probably over-planned, or my goal wasn't specific enough, or I could have challenged myself more. So these are the types of things. But basically, that cognitive ability to be able to look back, reflect, and assess and critique what you've done. Okay, thanks guys.